maybe it's not something that you do and all of a sudden your world completely changes overnight. But just like anything else, just like, picking two right habits when it comes to your eating, or eliminating a bunch of stuff that you shouldn't be eating, or picking up a new lifestyle habit, like, going for a walk, or maybe gardening, or just something that it takes you deep inside. It makes you feel connected with the universe. So when you do it over a few months, or sometimes even a few weeks, you see a difference, where like you run into your friends and family and they're like, oh, something's different about you. Have you lost weight? Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 50th episode of the Soulful Intuitive. I want to thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing this channel with your friends and family. And every day we have new subscribers, and makes us happier and more motivated to work on this together. So in the honor of having our 50th episode, today we're going to talk about meditation. And meditation has been something that I think most of us struggle with. It is something that we've heard that is good for us, yet it's such a vague title. It's people just throw the word meditation left and right, and nobody really tells you how it actually works. And of course, just like anything else, some people have tendencies, they're more lenient and to get it right away, and some people try it and they don't. For example, my mom has been doing yoga for many years, and she always had a hard time doing meditation. And yet you have some people who just take one yoga class and right there, they can just do it. So I have listened to many podcasts about meditation and what they call how to quiet your mind. And then the last podcast that I was listening to by Dean Slider, he has written books about it. He's #1 bestseller on all the books, and he also has a free meditation on Zoom. It's called deanslider.com. I think he does it 2 or 3 times a week, and he guides the meditation. So he was on the Next Level Soul podcast talking about his experience, and he's been teaching meditation since 1970s. And he really broke it down, and the myth of what people call the monkey brain, which is the mind that just jumps from one thing to another. And he was saying how we got it wrong. And the mind is not mind if it's not thinking. So when we think about our mind, we think about thoughts, and the mind is a thought-making machine. So he had this amazing correlation between mind and wind. So he said, if wind stops blowing, then it's no longer called wind. So the same thing with mind. If mind stops creating thoughts, then it's no longer called mind. So, and he said that the metaphor that he used was the monkey is jumping from a tree to another tree to find banana. And so the banana that our mind is looking for is actually ourselves, to connect with the source, that nirvana, basically. And in an attempt to seek from one thing to another, it's seeking for the ultimate truth, which is the only truth, the universe, the unity. So the mind wants to reach unity, and there's this whole concept of monkey brain is a myth, because they're constantly telling you that when you're meditating, you need to stop your mind or your brain from thinking. And he was saying that doesn't work. Another great example that somebody else used was, so think of your mind as the ocean, and think of your thoughts as the waves. in this ocean. And trying to make your thoughts disappear is as futile as trying to make the waves on the surface of the ocean disappear. You can't do it because they're endless and they're everywhere. But instead of trying to push the waves, like when you're trying to swim in the sea or the ocean, you want to go with the flow. So you don't push against it, but by relaxing, you let it pull you under. And guess where there are no waves? Under the water. So that silent place that we're all looking for when it comes to our mind, why we meditate and why it is recommended to meditate on a daily, is because we want to go from the surface to the deeper part of our brain. And that's where we can connect to the source. That's where we connect to our inner self. And by teaching people the wrong way of meditation, and then they get frustrated and then they think that it's not for them. And that's why sometimes people say, meditation can be just as easy as getting lost and looking at a beautiful scenery, or listening to a favorite piece of music, or doing something where you lose time, where you lose yourself, because that's exactly what happens when you are so connected. When a beauty of a musical piece, when a beauty of a scenery in nature, where a beauty of interacting with another human being, or when you're just so involved in doing something you're passionate about, you're talented, and that you're really good at, that you just go from the surface of the ocean waves to the deeper level. And that's when people report that they lost the passage of time, that they thought it was like a minute, but it was like hours. People say the same thing when they have a good meditation session, because that's when the time stops, and that's when you know that you have connected. And the importance of doing it every day is, people think that, I had a good session yesterday, but today was just fine, and then the next day, I just didn't feel it. But I'm reporting to you as someone who's been doing it for a while, and that's what Mr. Slider reported, that you see the results when life gets a little tough. So, for example, last week for me was a very tough week, and I'm not going to go into details, but let's say that, business-wise, and just, the whole mundane things about running a business, dealing with landlords and fire marshals and whatnot, just the joys of running a business. Like a few things happened back to back, our AC system stopped working in the middle of the heat wave, and just imagine 9 chairs, bunch of hair dryers at a hair salon, and glass everywhere, and no AC, and just do the math. But so the old me would have gotten so stressed that I probably would have gotten sick, and I probably would have maybe had a meltdown on my own. I probably would have had like 3 extra coffees, and maybe whatever it is that I used to do when I was stressed, or I would just get completely numb and frozen. This is what I used to do. I would get numb and frozen because I would get into the warrior mode, and I would just overfocus, and that overfocus was also accompanied with anxiety and fear and what's going to happen. And at times, unfortunately, I would have, an episode. I would have been super sensitive. I would have taken it out on, my partner or someone that I was very, very close with, or I would have called my best friend and just wanted to vent or bitch, whatever term I was going to use back then. But so this time I just I felt it. It was very stressful, And I kind of felt like a little bit of freezing motion in my neck, which is usually not my weak part, but lower back would be my weak link. But and actually they were all bad news, and they were all very costly situations that instead of me freezing and going to the place of poor me and feeling that like underlying anger and frustration and resentment at how this is not fair and all of those things, I continued doing my meditation and my breath work, and I continued doing my intention work every day. And although half of it is not resolved, I am going to continue doing that because I already seen that what happened with my own way of treating it, because the life happens on the outside. So that you can't change. But how you receive it and how you react and how you handle it is what you can change. And I feel like when you're in the state of flow, and we've talked about the state of flow in the past couple of episodes, and when universe gives you a sign that yeah, you're in the state of synchronicity, you're in the state of flow, good things happen to you. And like I just received random acts of kindness from my clients. Actually, one of them I hadn't even seen in so long, and she came with a little bag with a little tea flask with like a tea container, because she noticed that last time I was drinking tea, and that's her favorite tea flask. And it's actually really cute because you put your tea in it, so you can like have it all day, and you just like can add water to it, and it's not too bulky. Anyway, just these things. Or I would just get text messages from my clients and just sending me their love, without knowing what happened. And I would wake up in the middle of the night again, look at the clock, it's 3:33, or I would look at my my cell phone at work, it's 3:33 or 4:44. And so those are just the messages that I received from the universe, telling me that I'm not alone, that my work is paying off, that when you stay connected, then connection is felt and also reassured. And out of nowhere, my partner sent me this clip of this psychic slash channeler. Baba Jolie is the name of her channel, and he sent me that. It was something about full moon, and she it was like a pre-recorded for the full moon for June, and which was Saturday, and she just said there are like 3 cards, and you don't know what it is. They were just called card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, and tune in and see which one resonates with you and pick that one. And I picked card number 3, so there was like I don't know, 10 minutes of or less of her talking about people who picked card number 3. And also, so at the end, she said that, by the way, the guides are saying that for the ones who picked card number 3, your guardian angels are telling you that look for ribbons. And like, I really tried to actively look for ribbon for a couple of days, and I couldn't find it. So I was like, yeah, because it was all about, things are really tough, but the reason behind the toughness is because you've been learning the gift of perseverance, and also you are going to teach it and pay it forward. And a bunch of other stuff about people who pick card number 3. But so I forgot about it, because I kind of figured, well, maybe it was just, woohoo, and it wasn't for me. Maybe I picked the wrong card. And I was at my friend's house, and her 9-year-old came up to me with 9 ribbons, because he's been, I don't know, running, he was running, I think, like short distance and mid distance and long distance. And he's been coming with different places in the competition, and he had like 7 ribbons. And he's like showing me the ribbons, and then all of a sudden I look at my partner, I was like, oh my God, ribbons. So just to go back to what we're talking about, meditation and connecting with the source and with our inner selves or higher self, whatever you want to call them, different names. Just maybe it's not something that you do and all of a sudden your world completely changes overnight. But just like anything else, just like, picking two right habits when it comes to your eating, or eliminating a bunch of stuff that you shouldn't be eating, or picking up a new lifestyle habit, like, going for a walk, or maybe gardening, or just something that it takes you deep inside. It makes you feel connected with the universe. So when you do it over a few months, or sometimes even a few weeks, you see a difference where, like, you run into your friends and family and they're like, oh, something's different about you. Have you lost weight, or like, what is it? Have you, like, had work done? Because sometimes I hear that from people, and when usually I hear this when I've been in the state of flow. And then it's interesting when you're stressed that people, like, right away look at you and is like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Is everything okay? Are you feeling, like, sick? Or how's your mom? How's your partner? How's this? How's that? Like, people want to know why you look off, or you feel off, or both. So that's pretty much what I took away from these couple of podcasts. And then I'm really going to recommend people who have access to internet to go to deanslider.com and have him do the guided meditation. And because for me, it was so hard to do it on my own, and I would try, and sometimes I would fall asleep, which is like, you don't want to fall asleep when you're doing meditation. You want to be somewhere between super relaxed and not sleep. So somewhere in the middle. But if you're falling asleep, it means that you have, like, missed that part, that, like, blissful part, because our brain constantly is seeking, and we want to not be in the state of samsara, which is like seeking, or monkey brain. We want to be in the state of nirvana, which is blessed, and that feeling of being connected. So just like anything else, if you have an activity that you always find yourself drawn to when you because you know that it makes you recharge, and it makes you feel connected. Like, for some people is being in nature. Actually, for most of us is. You find that when you go for a hike, or when you walk on the beach, or some people just even like to just take their shoes off and just be barefoot in their garden. Just let that feeling, instead of pushing that loud mind away, just acknowledge it, accept it. And once you accept it, by just being silent and being on your own, and accepting that your mind is doing what the mind is supposed to do, which is just thinking, and then allow the rest to be done, because it will happen. You just have to not be in the I'm gonna fight it mode. You just have to be in a I'm surrendering mode, and then the rest will happen. And then you see that, like, great feeling all over your body. You see that expansion. You see that feeling of lightness, feeling of excitement, that all of a sudden you're excited to live, and to go to work, and to take care of your kids, and to cook for your loved ones, and to clean your house. And that sense of blissful gratitude, connection, that's what we're seeking. And that's what meditation is all about. And some people call it, praying, and some people call it gardening, and some people call it composing music. Doesn't matter. But it has to be on a daily, and it has to be part of our routine, just like how we brush our teeth, just like how we go to the bathroom, just like how we eat. These are the needs that the most important need for our soul. And if our soul is happy, then guess what? Our mind and body will follow. And this is something that they don't teach in schools. And this is something that is considered a luxury. Like, you have to be a Hollywood star, or you have to be live in California, or like have a West Coast lifestyle in order to, like, think about meditation and yoga and connection. It's almost like it's not offered or recommended for ordinary people. And the more and more and more we're hearing that it's important, it's necessary for us ordinary people to do it in order to be able to live life with a touch of bliss and with a touch of joy, so we can not only be joyous and in harmony and in flow with our universe and people around us, that we can also share that experience with others. And that is how we're going to slowly but surely changing our world for better. Just imagine a world where everyone is in the state of flow. So there will be no conflict, there will be no jealousy, there will be no fear, and there will be no scarcity. Because when you're in that state, none of that exists, because that is only the product of fear and disconnection. Because when we're in the state of connection, we know that all is well, and we know that all is well, that everything is working out as it should. And just like Buddha, after 49 days of meditation, he came out and he said, wow, all is well. Thank you very much for watching our 50th episode and for being with us for the 50 episodes in a row. And we can't wait until we see you and be with you for the next 50 and more episodes to come. Thank you and have a wonderful day.